So today we're going to do lesson 42 about absolute value equations and solving absolute value equations. Solving an absolute value equation is a three-step process. The first thing you want to do is isolate the absolute value. Get it by itself on one side of the equation. Then you take the expression that's inside of the absolute values and set it equal to the value on the other side of the equation, and you make a second equation where the inside of the absolute value is equal to the opposite value on the other side of the equation. You will see in a few examples exactly how to do that. Then you solve both equations, which means you could have two solutions. So using my steps for part A to solve the absolute value equation, the absolute value of x equals 6. By the way, if you want to solve these first, feel free to pause the video and then restart it and you'll see my solutions. My steps say get the absolute value by itself. It already is. That's great. So we're going to take the absolute value, set it equal to the value on the other side of the equation, and set it equal to the opposite. So our solutions are the value 6 or negative 6. For letter B, again, we take the absolute value, set it equal to the other side. We take the absolute value, set it equal to the opposite of the other side. Solve. So we get 4 or negative 4. The answers will not always be opposites, as you'll see with the next couple of examples. So here for letter C, take what's inside the absolute value, set it equal to the thing on the other side of the equation and its opposite. To solve this, I subtract 3. And my solutions are 3 or negative 9. Now, truthfully, we should probably check all of these by plugging those values in and making sure they make the equation true. For letter D, if we don't notice right away that we have an absolute value equal to a negative and try to solve it, it looks like we get the same solution as the previous. However, when I plug those values in, if I plug in negative 9, I get negative 9 plus 3 inside the absolute values, and I want to, is that equal to 6? That's the absolute value of negative 6, and that is not equal to 6. I'm sorry, that is not equal to negative 6. So 9 doesn't work. If I try 3, then I get the absolute value of 6. Is that equal to negative 6? That is also not correct. This is one with no solution. Letter E, we want to get the absolute value by itself. So the first thing we do is subtract 3. And then take what's inside the absolute value, set it equal to the same and opposite values. Letter F, unlike letter D, we need to isolate the absolute value first, so we do need to divide by -1. So just because there's a negative value that it's equal to doesn't mean there's no solution. You need to isolate the absolute value first. Doing a couple multi-step examples. Here again, 2x minus 4, set it equal to what's on the opposite side and to the opposite of what's on the opposite side. Well, 0 is its own opposite, so here we only have one equation. And so we only have one solution for letter A. The nice thing about absolute value equations is whatever you do to solve one, you're going to do exactly the same thing to solve the other. So in this case, I subtract 2 and divide by 3. Same thing with the second equation. I subtract 2 and divide by 3. All right, again, isolating the absolute value, the first thing I'm going to do is add 5 to both sides. Then I'm going to divide by that 3 that I'm multiplying by the out front of the absolute value. Now I've got the absolute value by itself. I can set what's inside equal to the 5, and I can set what's inside equal to -5. Solving. And reducing my fraction. 3/2 or 1.5 or 1.5. For the other one, and there are my solutions. All right, this last one I'm going to rewrite first. And now isolating the absolute value, add 2 to both sides. Always undo addition and subtraction before we undo multiplication or division. We're multiplying by 1/4, so to undo that we could divide by 1/4, but dividing by 1/4 is the same as multiplying by 4. 1/4 times 4 is 1, and now I have my absolute value. I'm actually going to put it in parentheses like that. And now I've got my absolute value isolated. To get rid of the 1/2, again, I could divide by 1/2. Dividing by 1/2 is the same as multiplying by 2. Doing the same thing to the other equation. And I have my two solutions. Again, if you want to make sure that those solutions are correct, check them by plugging back into the original. And then you're just double checking your work. Homework assignment. In your book, page 288, 41A, 1 through 12, those are problems that probably won't take a lot to do. I think you'll be able to look at most of them and answer them without doing any work, which is fine. That's the way they're designed to be. And then in 41B, 1 to 33, I want you just to do the odds. Those you're going to need to do a little bit more work with. Those are more like the last two examples in notes today. Have a great day, and I look forward to seeing you in class.